Hello, hello. Welcome back to Wheel of Games, where today we're going to be playing some more Final Girl. Today we are going to be playing against Geppetto at the Carnival of Blood. Yep, moving right along after the last two episodes getting beat down pretty handily. We're going to keep on powering through. So let's see, let's read the Carnival of Blood information first. Of course, the public doesn't know we call it the Carnival of Blood. We are still trying to sell tickets, you know. There is a reason we roam the country, finding new towns to set up in, and it ain't because we like to travel. The management pays good, and they leave the help like me alone, so that's good enough for me. Someone comes in and never makes it home, that's not my problem. Name withheld by request. Manager of the House of Mirrors. Okay. So we've got our event cards, item cards. Something that's unique about this one, there are traps that are set up. Looks like some of the items are trap cards, and they've got their own special reference card here. Well, it may not matter unless we actually come across them, so I've got a reference card in case we find some useful traps. And, okay, now Geppetto, the puppet master. He travels from state to state and runs his operation for a few days just like any other freak show would. When it grows in popularity, that's when he makes his move, adding as many of them to his family as he can. He keeps us around to keep up appearances, but I fear one day soon he'll welcome me into the family too. Excerpt from the Journal of Harris Campbell, theme park ride operator. So an interesting thing about Geppetto is he is the first villain that we're going to come across who has minions. He is the puppet master, so he's got his little puppets that run around doing his bidding for him. So I'm not sure how he's going to act, but he's definitely a bit different from all of the other ones, because his action phase, you can see there's first minions and then killers. So he's the first killer to actually have minions that he'll be commanding, so we'll get to learn some new rules. Okay, so let's go through the special setups first. Set up the game as normal with the following changes to the item decks. Oh, I already shuffled everything. Okay, when playing with Carnival of Blood, set the 3 item trap cards aside and shuffle the remaining item cards. Deal out 3 decks of 2 item cards face down and randomly add 1 item trap card face down to each deck, then shuffle them. Then deal out 1 item card face up on top of each item deck. Return the unused item cards to the box. Okay, so they're essentially ensuring that each one of those locations has an item, and it's just not going to be the top item. Okay, I'm going to have to reshuffle up the item cards, because I played, or set it up without those. Go do that. Okay, reshuffled them up, so now I've got 1 trap card shuffled into each deck, but not at the very top. And we'll reveal what those item cards are in a moment. Let's go through the rest of the special rules for the Carnival. So it comes with 2 types of traps. Item traps, which are now shuffled into the item decks, things you can pick up and use, and terror traps, which are shuffled into the terror deck. And there were a lot of terror cards between Geppetto, primarily Geppetto, and the Carnival. So there's some traps shuffled into that deck as well. Okay, 3 item traps randomly hidden within the item decks during setup. They'll only be discovered by searching. Each item deck will have a single item trap, but you won't know where they are located, or where in the deck they're located. After successfully searching, if you draw an item trap, you must resolve it unless otherwise noted, i.e. if you have Zappo with you. If your search revealed an item in addition to the item trap, you may still take the item but must resolve the trap first. Item trap cards are discarded after they are resolved unless otherwise noted. Oh, maybe the item traps are bad then. I was hoping there was something you could set as a trap for the enemies. Maybe they will be. We'll find out. Terror traps. There are 3 terror trap cards in Carnival of Blood terror deck. They may be revealed during the killer phase, or there could be none of them in the terror deck at all. It's random. When a terror trap card is drawn, resolve it like you would any other terror card. When the terror trap instructs you to place the accompanying trap token, place it in your current space. The effects of the trap occur immediately and apply to you and any victims in your space. Victims are always killed, but each trap affects you differently. Refer to the Terror Trap reference card for each specific effect. After resolving the trap's effects, finish resolving the Terror Trap card, if there's anything remaining, and discard as normal. Trap tokens are not discarded and remain on the board for the rest of the game. Each time you or a victim enters a space with a trap token, apply the effects accordingly. Enemies are not affected by trap tokens for any reason and completely ignore them. Sounds like traps are bad, then. Okay, that's the Carnival of Blood special rules. Now Geppetto. He's got puppets, so we'll have a lot to learn here. Okay, set up the game as normal, except place the puppets card next to the killer's board. So, what do we have here? Let's see. Yep, both sides are the same. So you've got basically little puppet figurines that we have are going to be moving between ready and exhausted. I imagine ready means they can be spawned, and exhausted is where they go after we kill them. And they can't end movement more than 2 spaces from Geppetto. And they have 1 attack, 1 health. But their move is equal to Geppetto's move. And it just says place that next to the killer board. Okay, so place the puppet tracker over there. Now place all 3 puppets on the ready space. Okay, puppets are ready. And he's also got a page of special rules as well. The puppets are considered minions. Refer to page 32 of the rulebook for the general rules for minions. The following are specific to puppets. So I'm going to read the minion rules first, because I imagine the puppet rules may override something. Okay, so enemies, killers, and minions. So both killers and minions are enemies, but killers and minions refer to specific subtypes of enemies. Some feature films use minions, which are lesser but still terrifying monsters that are trying to kill you. Minions can be present with or without a main killer, depending on the scenario. For example, Carnage at the Carnival includes both a killer and minions, but the Terror from Above only has minions. That's the one where it's the birds, so the birds are enough of a threat. Minions each come with their own reference cards that show what their health and other stats are. Minions are oftentimes spawned at the beginning or during the game. This will be indicated in the rules. The number of minions that can be on the board is always limited to the number of minion figures that are included, or either figures or the little tokens. Yep, I'm choosing to use the miniatures because I got that little bonus thing. If you are called by the game to spawn or place minions and there are none available, just ignore it. So you don't place a new one and remove an existing one. You just ignore it. Okay, attacking a minion. When attacking a minion, follow the same rules as when you attack the killer with the following changes. If the killer is in the same space as one or more minions, you have to first decide whether you're attacking the killer or the minions. You can't attack both. If you choose to attack the minions and there are more than one, you are attacking all of them. You may divide damage among the minions in the space as you wish. Any leftover damage is lost. You cannot divide damage between minions and the killer. And victims will follow you into a space that contains minions, unless that space also contains the killer. Okay, so that's the minion-specific stuff. Now, for the puppets. There are 3 total puppets, which is the maximum number that can be on the board, or on the puppets card at any time. Whenever a puppet is killed, place it on the exhausted space. Each killer phase, up until the finale is revealed, the first step in the minion action is to spawn a puppet. When spawning a puppet, take a token from the ready space and place it in Geppetto's space. If there are no tokens ready, you do not spawn. Whether one was spawned or not, move all the puppet tokens from the exhausted space to the ready space. Okay, so after you've killed puppets, you basically get a 1-turn reprieve before that puppet can come back, but they're going to be spawning basically 1 a turn. Some of Geppetto's terror cards will specify whether an action line only applies to the puppets, but many do not. Likewise, your chosen location's terror cards will not specify this either. When resolving a killer action on any terror card that does not specify whether it only applies to the puppets, each puppet on the board will resolve the full action 1 at a time. If there are multiple puppets, you may choose which order they resolve the action in. After each puppet has gone, resolve the same action for Geppetto. So everything that doesn't specifically apply to puppets applies to every puppet 1 at a time, and then Geppetto gets the same thing too. Okay, that seems like a lot of enemy actions. Puppets have 1 health and their attack value is 1. Their movement value is the same as Geppetto's and will change as his bloodlust increases. Puppets have strings and are attached to their master, so they must end their movement within 2 spaces of Geppetto. They may move farther than 2 spaces from Geppetto as long as they end their movement within 2 spaces of him. This can sometimes happen if the puppet's target is within 2 spaces, but taking the most direct route will momentarily place them more than 3 spaces away, so they can jump out and jump back. If a special effect from a tarot card or other game effect results in a puppet being more than 2 spaces away from Geppetto, the next time that puppet must choose a target, it will instead target Geppetto, attempting to end its movement as soon as it is exactly within 2 spaces of him. If it runs out of movement, it may be forced to stop farther than 2 spaces away from Geppetto, in which case it will repeat this process the next time it must choose a target. So if you can push a puppet farther from Geppetto, their action gets replaced with move towards Geppetto until they're 2 spaces away. Interesting. I know that whip card from the last scenario that could forcibly move something, although it would more likely just kill the puppets, but forced movement, you can override their directions. Let's see. When a puppet must stop moving, either because further movement would cause it to end more than 2 spaces from Geppetto, or it was returning Geppetto and made it exactly 2 spaces, any additional movement it may have had is lost. So I suppose if they had an attack, they could still have it. They could still do that if they didn't get to use all of their movement. And that's it. So yeah, there's a lot of rules on this sheet. But the most important thing the hardest thing to remember here is when each action line will either specifically say it only refers to the puppets, and if it doesn't, all the puppets do it and the killer does it. I think that's the best. I'm going to have to play with those rules handy. Okay, so now the standard setup rules, just make sure I've got everything done correctly. So, let's see. Killer board, location board, setup. So, core box. Yep, like last time, I'm using the colored rings to help make the killer and final girls stand out a little bit better. The minions will just be the really tiny ones. Okay, Bloodlust is in place. Starting terror level is 4. Geppetto has 8 health to start, so I've already randomized these out. Let's just give him 1, give final girl 1, and he needs his additional 7 markers. He's slightly less tough than the Avenger. Okay, so there's his total of 8. Today we are playing as Asami, who was one of the 2 final girls on the outside of this box. And so here is her card. Good enough. So take a search action card, recover a health, move a space, or reduce the horror level by 2. Those are pretty good stats there, or abilities. And the ultimate ability on the opposite side, whenever you draw at least 1 item card, draw an extra card and choose one. And you are immune to item trap cards. Each additional victim recovers health. Normally it's extra time. Well, yeah, if you're immune to item trap cards, it seems like she is pretty much tailor-built for playing at the Carnival of Blood, since I assume that's the only location that has item traps, at least the only one I've encountered so far that has them. That ability would be useless anywhere else. Okay, so we've got, and she gets her 4 health in addition to her final marker. Okay, we've got our dice handy. Okay, so time to set up our literal setup. I already randomly drew a which one was going to be on top for this. So our setup is going to be called Late for the Show. And the killer is going to be right in the middle. So let's actually take a proper look at the map here. Here's the Carnival. So we've got an exit space in the bottom right corner here. We've got an exit space in the clown car. That's pretty funny. We can save people by packing them into the clown car. They can't get in. And the, let's see, is that the entrance to the roller coaster or the House of Mirrors or something? I'm not sure, but the top left there appears to be a Well, that's an exit space for sure. And then we've got searchable spaces, the Forest of Horrors, the House of Mirrors, and Things to Astonish, and a whole bunch of other different spots. So, let's see, Killer goes there, Final Girl starts at the exit, and I'll put everyone else in place and come right back. Okay, all of our victims are in place, so late for the show, nobody is in the big top, but Geppetto is, so maybe he's upset that no one has come to the show. So we've got a lot of people at the snack stand over here, the animal cages, the Ferris wheel. Nobody's at the roller coaster. We've got someone at, well, that mysterious spiral, Forest of Mirrors. One ready to be saved at the clown car. But an interesting thing about this map is the places aren't really that closely connected. This starting space, I have to go up to the Ferris wheel or cross over to there. That starting or exit space, I suppose, is just not very close to everything else. So, a little bit of difficulty for me at the start. And let's reveal what our top item cards. So the Forest of Horrors in the bottom left, we've got the trash can lid. So takes one hand. Okay. Focus, please. Almost like someone answered this softball champ's prayers. Two-handed adds an extra damage to your attacks in the same space. Whenever you inflict damage to the killer with the aluminum bat, so notably not the puppets or any minions, you may immediately discard a minor dark power, including any health markers remaining on that card. Well, I really want that. That's in the House of Mirrors, right next to him. And at the Things to Astonish, we've got a knife bandolier. I feel like this is too many knives. Nah, no such thing. So 4 uses. You can attack either in your space or one space away, adds damage. When using the knife bandolier, you may divide the damages as you choose between any enemies within range. I mean, that thing is just a puppet killer. Wow. So you could do like an attack with that. It just boosts the damage, and you just deal out extra damage. That is ludicrously good. Man, the item cards I've been going after with other things are just not this powerful. Because, yeah, this modifies an attack at range 0 or 1. So something that actually increases a ranged attack. Nice. Oh, come on, focus back on the Carnival. Here we go. Okay. So there's an item trap in each deck. Are item traps necessarily bad? I didn't really spoil myself to look at what they were, but I saw one of them was a cobra. So I imagine that's not a good thing for you. So I'm not sure if... I don't know if the item traps are good or not, but if Asami can save 4 people, then she's immune to the item trap cards, which suggests that the item traps are bad. Okay, what other setup do we have to do? We've got the event card. Now, because I've been having such a terribly difficult time with all of this lately, I've decided I'm going to break out the signature action cards. So these are a special mechanic, something that I got when I the whole season thing was signature actions. I don't believe they're tied to an individual hero. Yeah, it's just some special thing. And if you're playing with them, the idea is that you just roll the die and one of them will get included in your shop for the game. So you can't rely on them always being there, but it's something that's really good. So, number 4. What action card have we gotten? It is Ambush. Well, that looks nice. So, definitely the first time we've seen this. May only be played as a reaction when the killer moves into your space. So, 1 success, simply deal them a damage. Ooh, very expensive. 2 success, deal 2 damage and immediately end the killer phase. Awesome. But no successes, deal a damage each way, and horror level increases. Not yet, not yet, now. Well, that is an extremely good card. Extremely expensive as well. It's as expensive as the most expensive thing in that shop. It's another, let's see, yeah, whole shop is not on camera because I made space for the zoom. So what else? I think the only thing left is to draw our starting event. You always get one event before the very first turn. And of course, here's our 0 cost cards for the starting hand. Uh-oh. I kind of always like the ones that have a special meeple on them. I haven't heard that howl since the old country. The victim farthest from you is the world's hairiest man and is actually a werewolf. The werewolf will not follow you and cannot be targeted, saved, or killed. During upkeep, panic the werewolf, then he does 2 damage to one target in his space according to the following priority. So victims, then you, then minions, then the killer. Wow. Well, that's weird. So it's the victim farthest from me. I mean, I want it to be someone near the killer, I suppose, but 1 space... 2 spaces, 3 spaces. These are also 3 spaces away. Versus 3, 2, 3. Interesting. So nobody is more than 3 spaces away. I kind of want to make it the clown car person because that's closer to the killer. So my weird placement sort of helps me. It would have been nice to simply save that person by walking into their space. So we've got a werewolf that simply panics every upkeep and just randomly does damage. Great. Well, you know, at least, granted, they will attack our friendly people first, but we've got something that can take out some minions. Wow. Okay, and now we are ready to start our first turn. Okay, and something I also noticed while searching over the things, the actions that the minions and killers do, because I remembered last time Nkanyamba didn't have a move action. So the minions, first you spawn, and then you target victims and move towards them. So the minions are specifically moving towards victims, and they can't go more than 2 spaces away from Geppetto. Geppetto, based on their killer card, doesn't get a move. They simply target someone in their space and do an attack. So the terror cards can still be moving the killers around, but the minions don't specifically have attacks on their card, and Geppetto doesn't specifically have moves on his card. So that may be something we can manipulate or take advantage of as we're going through this. And of course, we've also got a wild card werewolf in here as well. But to start our first turn, the #1 priority is really just try to save people, and we've got 2 people right next to us. If I can simply move there and then move back, then I can just immediately, take the terror level down, get some bonuses in, get towards that item trap immunity. That would be so nice. So we are definitely going to start by walking. Yep, and I'm still relying on, I went over all of the basic action tableau cards in a introduction video. So hopefully this will let us move some spaces. We got 2 dice. Horror level is at 4 to start. Let's get you flat. Oh yeah, off the side of the board. There, flat. Yep, we can see it. Okay, 1 success and 1 blank. So for a walk, that means we spend 1 time, down to 5, and we get to move 1 space. So we at least got to the space with those 2 victims. And I've got a second walk card. So I'm simply going to do that exact same thing again. Come on, better luck than last time. Okay, 1 success and 1 blank. That is significantly better than constantly having to discard cards. Oh, so much better. So we've spent another time, but we can move 1 space again, and we can get up to 2 victims to follow us. So we are in the exit space with 2 victims. We have saved our first 2 victims. And so what do I want to take from our card? Well, we aren't damaged yet. I definitely want to reduce the horror level by 2, because now the horror level is already really close to actually getting a bonus. That'd be nice. So I can either take a search action card or move 1 space. I kind of want to move 1 space just so that I can get closer to Well, closer to the next set of victims that I want to save. I'm just trying to decide if that's the ones from the Forest of Horrors, or if I move up to the Ferris wheel again, then I can try to move and take the people from the animal cages back out, and hopefully finish off my ultimate ability stuff. And I am feeling very lucky today. I think I'm going to try a focus card because I still have plenty of cards left to spend on upgrading a result. If I get even a single success, I drop it down so I get to roll 3 dice, which I'm not sure I've ever had before. Maybe briefly. But at the very least, I'm farther away from only rolling 1 die, and that was terrible last time. So, I am playing Focus. And 2 blanks. Man, getting greedy, I guess. With 2 blanks, I simply waste 2 units of time, and nothing good happens. Well, that was a 1 in 9 chance, 1/3 on each die. Boo. 8 and 9 of at least getting something I could do. Now, I could try to focus again, but if that happens, I need to get at least a sprint card out of this to be able to try to get people, so I can't waste any more time. That was a very unfortunate roll after 2, I don't even want to say very lucky, just 2 good rolls. So, my luck is starting to come back to where it has been. I'm going to end my action phase, so I've got a budget of 2. And, yep, I need that sprint card. So that expends my budget, goes back up to 6, and now we are in the killer phase, just referencing this nice, handy, yep. And of course, every action card we spent returns back into the shop, something I often forget. Killer phase. Okay, so minions go before killers. That's why they're on the top. So we spawn our first puppet in his space. Then it targets victims and moves towards them. So it has a movement of, oh, interesting. Movement is only 1 at the very start for Geppetto. I hadn't really looked at that part of the card much as well. And since there's 1 spot with 3, they're all 2 spaces away from Geppetto, so it's going to move there. You know, this werewolf, does it say he doesn't count as a victim anymore? It's actually a werewolf. It cannot be targeted. Okay, that was the important thing. It can't be targeted. So I was wondering if maybe the minions would sort of follow it around and get themselves killed. But no, they cannot target the werewolf. Okay, so definitely going over towards those 3, but it doesn't reach them. And that's it. Then the killer would target someone in his space and attack. Neither of those can happen. It's time for our terror card. Okay, and we've got Misty Ambush. All victims on or adjacent to the Forest of Horrors panic. For any 1s roll, the victim is killed. Oh, we're already there. So where is the Forest of Horrors? Ah, okay, down there. So 1 or a 2, they'd go that way, 3 to 6 that way, and at or adjacent to. So we have to roll for all 3 of those. Okay, so we'll start with that part first. We'll roll for the guy who's farther away from the forest. He rolls a 1. So he just immediately dies, and the killer's bloodlust goes up because it doesn't matter how they die. Great. Now I've got the 2 that are in the Forest of Horrors itself. Let's see what happens with them. Okay, a 5 and a 6. So they both run up towards where the last guy previously was, and farther from me. Okay, if at least 1 victim is killed, there was, the horror level increases. If no victims were killed, resolve the next terror card. So I guess having 1 victim killed was a good thing, question mark? Prevented us from chaining horrors together, so sure. So we've got our first dead victim in the Forest of Horrors. Yes, the Misty Ambush. Okay, but that is it for the killer phase. Yep, panic phase. If a victim was killed this turn, panic all victims in the killer's space. Interesting, there aren't any victims there, but it doesn't have to be where they were killed. Okay, and upkeep phase. So we have no items to rearrange, but it is time for the werewolf to randomly move around. So, yeah, 1 through 5, they go to the House of Mirrors. Ooh, that's a 2. Yep, a 6 would move them over to here. So from the House of Mirrors, a 1 to 3 takes them to the big top. If he simply just keeps running in and out of the killer's space, dealing damage to him, that would be insanely lucky, also insanely unrepeatable in terms of like strategy or tactics. How could I possibly predict that, oh, there is a werewolf, it is one of the 10 event cards, or however many, and then it happens to go to the killer? Yeah, sure, let's hope we get that lucky today. But that ends the upkeep phase, and so we are into the next action phase. Well, I've got a couple of cards that I could potentially play or get rid of. But the most important thing is a sprint to try to save some victims from the killer. So that is our focus this turn. I still have 3 cards that I could potentially get rid of. Let's see. Now, weak attack would have to be in the space, but that's something to consider. So I still have 2 dice to roll at this point. 1 success, 1 blank. Well, that's better than a 3 or a 4, discard 2 cards and a blank, which is all I rolled yesterday. So with 1 success on a sprint, spend 1 time, we're down to 5, move up to 2 spaces. So I could move into the space with the 3 people, or I could move into the animal cages and right back to where I am with the 2 victims right with me. So I'm only 1 space away from saving these 2 victims, and then I'll upgrade so I can start searching with essentially impunity. So now, I'm still tempted to try that focus. If I don't use the focus, I should at least spend these 3 cards to just get more time, and I can get good cards with them. It kind of sucks to just hold on to the 0-cost cards. It's better to chuck them for time budget, because if I had 8, imagine what kind of good turn I could have next turn. I'd much rather have a sprint than, say, if I spent the focus and then discarded the other 2 cards to move the horror level down by 1, versus having an improvised distraction, a lot of goodness. So I'm just going to stop here, discard those 3 cards to into the play area, increase my budget up to 8, and now I enter my planning phase with a good budget for once, and I got to look over the cards. Okay, so in addition to the 2 walks and the focus we spent on the first turn coming back, I am getting a sprint and 2 distractions. I really want to get that horror level down if I possibly can. Get it so far down that we're rolling 3 dice. I can even give us a point of a buffer down there. So I really want to hit those distractions and then the sprint to get us out of here. And I've got some 0-cost cards that I can spend to upgrade if we need to. That was our full 8 budget. Distractions cost 3 apiece, and the sprint. So that goes back to 6, and we're into the killer's turn. So the minions, first we spawn another puppet. Now each puppet targets victims and moves 1 towards them. And again, they're still targeting the, because they don't target the werewolf, they're targeting the highest concentration of victims at equal distance, so they're going towards the 3. And the first puppet has reached them. Killer has no one to kill in his space. Time for our terror card, which is this a prop? So we draw an event card first. Let's see, after that, discard a random item card. If you have none, discard the top card from the nearest item deck. Oh, and then, so target someone, attack and move, or move, then attack. All the puppets are going to get to do that, so we're going to lose some victims here. Unless the event does something really interesting for us. So our event is, oh boy, it's another special victim. Did you follow me here? Why do you always tag along? Place 4 new victims at the big top. The big top is at the center where the killer is. Oh no. One of them is a special victim who is your plucky younger sibling. Oh no! Well, we've got so many things at the big top that I'm going to move their extra little marker thing over to the side, because there's just too many of them in that one space for this. And so the white one is your plucky younger sibling. While the sibling is in your space, you may spend 2 time units to re-roll 1 die. But if the sibling dies, Bloodlust increases by 2. And if the sibling leaves play, end this card. Great. So now, I guess I'll leave him in the big top or something to show that, yeah, they're all there. But we've got 3 victims, and our sibling are now in the big top with the killer. Oh no. And oh yeah, now the killer's got shields from that werewolf. Which, yeah, we're not at the upkeep stage yet. So, okay. Well, we don't have an item card, so discard the top card from the nearest item deck. The nearest one is going to be... It's a tie between House of Mirrors. Actually, it's a tie between all 3, because it's 3 spaces to there, 3 spaces to there, and 3 spaces to there. So I basically can choose. Okay, well, of the 3, the Bat and the Bandolier are just insanely good, so I'll discard the trash can lid. That one is simply gone now. Okay, now, in order, the minions are going to get to move, then attack, and then the killer is going to get to move and attack. So this puppet is already with them. Any attack will kill one of those victims, so Bloodlust goes up. Now, the puppet that's in the middle, there's actually 4 victims in that space, so he moves back to Geppetto and kills one of the victims who is in the big top with their sibling. Bloodlust goes up again. Now they've got double movement. And now the killer gets to do it. They're already in the space with the most, so another victim in the big top has died. Our sibling is not going to last very long, given... Man, spawning on the killer where all the puppets are spawning, not cool. But we have finished processing. Is this a prop? So that terror card is done. Yeah, ouch. Just give the killer lots of free people to kill. No. Okay. But terror cards are done. Panic phase. The victims get to panic and run away. So specifically the ones that are in the killer's space. Okay, so let's do our sibling first. Where are they running? Space number 6. They've run to the House of Mirrors. Great. And now the other victim runs to 4. 1, 2, 3. Wait, 1, 2, 5, 6. So 3 and 4, the other victim simply stays put. Okay. Well, they're back onto the main map at least. But yeah, Geppetto, a puppet, and the other victim simply stayed put. Yeah, that's weird. But it's 1, 2, 5, and 6. 3 and 4 really do just stay in the big top. The 3 and 4 that I could see are just from this space, because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now we're in the upkeep phase. So we get to reveal, well, where the werewolf is going first, because, yeah, after he panics, then he does the 2 damage. So we just need him to move from the House of Mirrors. Okay, a 3. Oh, the werewolf has moved to the big top, where there's already victims. Look, I guess that's at least going to keep the puppets over there for the moment. So now he does 2 damage. He kills the remaining victims, so it's not going to keep them there. And now the puppets... No, the puppets still do 1 damage. Geppetto would do 2 damage. Great. Oh, I completely glossed over... The horror level went up at some point during all of these kills, and at the last one we reveal his dark power, which is Massive Abominations. Focus on that. So each puppet ignores the first damage dealt to it each turn. Great. The puppets are tough. You need to do 2 damage to kill them. Oh dear. Well, at least the werewolf would kill them if they stayed together. Okay, so yeah, the dark power thing activated when the puppet or the killer killed something. The werewolf brought it up to there. So our sibling over in the House of Mirrors is the closest to all of those enemies. I don't think there's anything we can do to protect that sibling. Short of, like, if I literally raced there, traded. If I got the sprint for 3 spaces, maybe it's possible. Highly unlikely. I think that's just dead, and we're going to have to deal with higher bloodlust levels because of a terrible event card that just fed the killer. Okay, but that's the end of the upkeep phase. We're into our next turn, so we've got our actions. So, well, I wanted to use distractions first because that's I was hoping to get the horror level down and get those extra dice. That's still the plan. So first up, distraction. Here's our 2 dice. I need good rolls, please. I got a blank and a discard 2 for a success, which I'm going to do because no successes is just extra bad on this particular card. So yeah, with 1 success, the horror level goes down by 1, and my budget actually increases by 1. Whereas if I had no successes, I'd have to spend either 2 or 4 time to potentially just increase the horror level. Great. Now if I do that again, I may have to discard the sprint. But then if I sprint, I may have to discard the distraction. Yeah. I have to just hope I get lucky. I'm going to sprint now. Sprint. Hopefully save the people who are with me. I don't think I can do anything about the sibling who just suddenly appeared and then almost died. Here we go. Oh, 2 successes straight up. So on a sprint, I spend 1 time back down to 6, but move up to 3 spaces. I didn't really think this would be a possibility. I could get to the House of Mirrors. So what did it say? When they're in your space, you may spend 2 time to re-roll a die, and that's sort of just an ability as long as you stay with them. Let's see, what else could I do? Yeah, no matter which way I go, 3 spaces would get me exactly to the House of Mirrors. And, I mean, from the House of Mirrors, maybe I could pick up the bat, but I wouldn't be able to save anybody. Whereas if I save the 2 that I'm already with, I could go 1, 2, 3. I'm not particularly closer to my sibling there, is the biggest problem. If I'm... it's the kind of thing where I only need to save 2, but I'm going to be buffeted with multiple puppets next turn, and I won't have a good way to fight them. I have to go for saving the people who are in front of me when I can. So I'm going to start by saving those 2. I've got 2 movement left. I don't need to heal. I can take a search action card, which is something. And now I have finished up my track. So whenever I draw at least 1 item card, I can draw an extra and choose between them, and I'm immune to trap cards, or item trap cards, not the terror trap cards. Okay, each additional victim would recover health. So now I've got 2 movement left. It's going to be tough to save a lot of these people. I suppose I want to go there. I mean, there's no way I can save the sibling. Even if I got really lucky with a walk action or something. No, I think I want to head towards, well, yeah, the House of Mirrors. The Knife Bandolier is just crazy good. I need to go there no matter who I'm trying to save next. Well, no, if I wanted to save those 2, I mean, recovering health isn't the point. It's denying the bloodlust. And if they start discarding terror cards, that's denying me more chances until the finale. So I don't want them to keep getting extra bloodlust kills. Man, that was such a bad card for 4 in his space. So yeah, do I want to save those 2, or do I want to try to just start searching? Because I pretty much need items like the aluminum bat, which would be awesome, but they're in my way. Well, I've moved there regardless. I'm just going to hold on to the other... Well, no, I'll discard the walk for an extra time unit, and I'll hold on to the search card and the distraction for a really good turn later. Okay, so we go into our shopping phase, and what am I going to do with these 7? Okay, with the 7, we're going to get an improvise, sprint, because we've got no movement right now, and both close call reroll cards. I've got 9 cards in hand right now. So down to 0, resets to 6. The other things go back into the tableau. Yeah, both of our walk cards are in the other half. So if I want to move to the house of, let's see, whatever that's, yeah, things to astonish, I'm pretty much going to have to use a sprint to do it, which that part sucks, but oh well. So we have done our action phase, buying phase, everything refreshed, killer phase time. So we spawn a puppet. We've got massive puppets. Okay, now the puppets move towards specifically the closest victim, which is both of the puppets go towards our sibling, but they just do the move. The killer would attack someone in his space but can't target the werewolf. The werewolf is immune to Geppetto's machinations. So let's see what the terror card is. The terror card's what's really been rumbling us. Okay, it burns, it burns. We've got a terror trap. Place the acid trap token in your space. Immediately apply the trap's effects, see the reference card to you, and any victims in your space, and the horror level goes up by 2. Okay, well, man, we're in a very central space here. So what does the acid trap do? Going to be at horror 5 already from all this stuff. Okay, the terror trap reference. Whenever a terror trap card comes into play from the terror deck, place the token in your space. So it's that nexus right there. The trap immediately takes effect on you and all victims in your space. Yep, whenever the victims enter a space with a trap token, they're just killed. Whenever you enter, you suffer the following effects. So this acid trap causes me to lose 1 point of health anytime I enter or are in a space with a trap token. So I assume that if I simply stay here and don't move, because yeah, whenever you are in a space with a trap token, that would be just, it constantly processes and then you're just dead. So I'm going to take this as if I end my turn here or if I move into it. Okay, so we've gotten one of the nasty traps. So now there's acid, pretty much preventing us from going the easier way out or getting any of the victims to the clown car. Wow, terrible positioning for us. But at the very least, the victims are still alive. Maybe I can run through, get past the clown car and save our sibling somehow. Okay. Let's see, upkeep phase. Oof. It's time to find out where the werewolf is going to. As they panic with a 1, and a 1 takes them in... Wait, no, they're in that space. The 1 takes them the space above the big top. Okay. So the werewolf is not in a space with anybody right now. Only 1, 2, 5, and 6 leave the big top. So the werewolf is off by himself to the north. Acid pit to the south. Werewolf to the north. Yeah, the circus has this sort of inner ring and an outer ring going on. The only ways out of it are where this acid trap is, the ticket booth up here where the werewolf is, and if you go out past the animal cages in the northeast corner. So there's an acid trap that will just instantly kill victims on the south side and a werewolf on the north side. Yay! But that's the end of the werewolf. So it's back over to us. It's time for our next action phase. Now, what I really want is a very, very, very good turn with this improvise card. I want 3s and 4s to be a success today. And I've got a whole bunch of cards that I really want to have good luck with. So playing the improvise, I've got close calls ready. Oh, where'd there's our time tracker. It is at 6. The horror level's just I mean, it shoots up when it goes up by 2 at a time. Okay, I got full empties. Okay, I'm going to re-roll all dice by spending 2 time by using the close call. Come on. Better luck, please. It would figure that when trying to use the card that gives you 3s and 4s as successes, I would get 2 of the 3 and 4. I would have to discard 4 of these cards to get a good result here. Which, I don't want to discard the search, the sprint, the close call. Like, if I discard short rest, focus, weak attack, and close call, then I can have a good result on everything else this turn. If I just want it to be the next roll, then I could have it be, then I could just discard 2 of them. And the most important thing is to get a good result on that distraction to bring down the horror level. Because the things I'm discarding are things that would have been really nice to get. Erg. Okay, I'm only going to discard 2 sets of these cards, so only the next one is going to be... So I only got 1 success, so the next horror roll only 3s and 4s will be considered a success. So I'll discard the short rest and the weak attack. Weak attack can't hurt these minions anymore because they're massive, so they ignore the first damage. Weak attack only does 1 damage, so discard those 2. I've still got the close call on my focus. Good job, improvise, but not really. Now, let's go for the distraction. For this roll only, 3s and 4s are successes, and watch as I roll none of them again. Okay, I got a 4 and a 5. It did pay off. That's 2 successes. The horror level goes down by 2, and the time goes up by 2. Best result on the distraction. Okay. It's lower. It's still not good. Okay, I'm still holding on to the search. I want it. I just can't use it. Okay, I need to sprint next. I need to try to find... I need to save the victims, is what I'm trying to do. If I don't move anywhere, I'll take damage from the acid pit. If I get like a move 3, I'll just move up and save the sibling. Putting them in the clown car, I guess. But yeah, lots of pain here. Okay, sprint, come on. Okay, 1 success and 1 moderate upgradable success, which I'm not going to spend the cards on. I could close call it to try to get a movement of 3. Right now I've got a movement of 2 spaces, which would get me 2 either group of victims. If I play the close call, I've got a 1 in 3 shot of upgrading this to something better. Versus if I spend the focus on the close call, I get the better thing right now. Yeah, I'm upgrading the other one. Would have been nice to get that good improvise earlier in the turn. Versus last game where I got the improvise and didn't roll a 3 or 4 the rest of the turn. That happens. Okay, so I discarded the cards. I've got 2 successes. So I spend 1 time. I can move up to 3 spaces. Now, if I go and save the sibling, then that's basically I move just straight through to the sibling, and I take them to the clown car, and they're just out. It'd be nice to have that extra power to just spend 2 to reroll a die, basically like a constant close call. But the sibling would definitely die the next time I'd get attacked. Versus if I go up the eastern side, I can get those 2 away from the puppet in the animal cages. No, if I just straight out save my sibling, then the puppets that are over here are going to have to spend time going to someone else, even though they're about to get increased movement again. But I move 2, so through the clown car, up to the House of Mirrors, and then immediately back down to the clown car, saving our sibling, which recovers 1 health for us. That's our, after we've already maxed out, that's the ability, so we're back up to full 5. And yeah, did you follow me here? Okay, the sibling has left play. Wanted to save them because that would have been double the bloodlust penalty if they managed to kill them. Okay. Only thing I've got left right now is search, and I can't really use that. So, end of a very long phase. We've got a budget of 5, and we get all the zero cost things back, so that's something. But what else are we going to grab? Okay, grabbing a sprint and a distraction for our 5. And that ends our buying phase. 6 cards in hand. Everything else goes back into the tableau. Improvise, distraction, improvise. Close call. Okay, ready for next time. Now, killer's phase begins. So, yeah, no puppets to spawn at this point. They're all out. So they target specifically victims, and they move towards them. So the one on the eastern side is already with victims. And the other two are equal distance between the 2 victims on the west side and the 2 victims that are on the east side. So I could make them split up. It's basically what's thematic here. Honestly, oh yeah, they can't go farther than 2 spaces away, so I suppose what would be smarter for them is to go over to there. The victims that are all on the east side are in a bad spot. The ones on the west side are actually too far from Geppetto to be targeted right now. All the ones on the east side are in terrible, terrible danger. Okay. Okay. And that's it for them, so it's time for the terror card. How can there be so many traps? Uh-oh. Okay. If there are no item trap cards in the item discard pile, discard and draw the next terror card. Well, there aren't any. I haven't been able to search, so I haven't found any traps. So we just discard and ignore the rest of that. We just basically skip a turn towards the finale. How did the tiger get loose? If there are no victims on the board, discard. Okay. All victims panic. Then all the puppets and the killer are going to be able to move and attack, and then do the following for the animal cages. Well, let's resolve all victims panic first. I suppose technically the werewolf is still a victim for the purposes of this, so, oh boy. Okay. Yeah, the tiger got loose from the animal cages. So we'll start with these 2. We got a 2 and a 6. So, okay, one of them goes to the forest, and one of them goes up next to the carnival exit. Now for the werewolf, still technically a victim, even though they're not killable. A 4. That takes them back to the big top. Although they may not be staying there to damage Geppetto for us. Now let's check the 2 that are next to each other over by the puppet. A 3 and a 6. Oh, yeah. Die face. Okay. 3 and a 6. So where do they go? One of them goes to Things to Astonish, and the other one goes to where there are 2 puppets currently standing. Great. And now the one who is already in the Things to Astonish, it's a 6 and has gone to the acid pit and immediately dies. Great. Yep, the tiger chased them into an acid pit. Okay. And there's an event to process when we get to that bloodlust level. I'm not sure if I should interrupt the terror card or just resolve the event afterwards. Let's finish the terror card and then we'll pull the event. Okay, so now, specifically targeting victims, the puppets and then the killer get to move and attack. Thanks to the increase they just got, they've got a movement of 3 and an attack of 2. Yeah, it doesn't strictly matter because they can attack one way or the other, so one of them kills this victim straight up. Bloodlust goes up again. The other one can move over there and kill that victim straight up. They're at the top. Now there's another event to resolve immediately after this. And yeah, so that one's now gone. And now the one on the far side, great. Because they've got a movement of 3. 1, 2, 3. Attack. They kill him. We discard a terror card. And we'll be right back here. So, without resolving it, you'll make a fun new toy. That would have... Yeah, that card would have been nasty as well. Increase horror by 2. Maybe we got lucky. Okay, but we are still resolving how did the tiger get loose, and we got 2 events afterwards. Okay, do the following for the animal cages space and all spaces adjacent to it. Victims there are killed. Enemies there take damage. If you are there, take damage. Well, there are no enemies there, and they would ignore the first damage dealt to them anyway. So, yeah, spaces adjacent to it. Oh, great, the animal cages, which were the one safe way out beforehand. Whew. Okay. Yeah, so no other bad things happen. Now we have 2 event cards to resolve, because that's on our tracker up here. So the first one is, run, I'll hold them off. We've got the blue victim this time. There's a fine line between courage and idiocy. The victim closest to you is your fiancé. Well, there is one left. So, okay, you have become the blue. In the Forest of Horrors, just randomly, you're not dead. Yet. Fiancé. If an enemy would move into your space while the fiancé is there, instead kill the fiancé and the enemy stays where they are. If your fiancé is killed by a trap, increase the horror level by 5. Yes, by 5. And if so, just don't let them get killed by a trap. But yeah, the fiancé just prevents them from coming to your space. But it's going to increase bloodlust anyway. Okay, well, we've seen all 3 of the special meeples for this location. That's neat. And here's our second event. Mirrors everywhere. I think I got him. Oh no. If you attack and there are 1 or more victims in your space, a victim dies for every 1 you roll. Our final event card here is Mirrors everywhere. I think I got him. Oh no. If you attack and there are 1 or more victims in your space, a victim dies for every 1 you roll. So this stays in play. There's only 1 victim left on the board. Maybe this could indirectly kill the werewolf, I suppose. Because it doesn't deal damage, it's just they die. Great. So we don't really want to be on the same space as our fiancé. The fiancé is currently safe because they are more than 3 spaces away from Geppetto right now. No, I forgot. Because, yeah, when we were doing How Did the Tiger Get Loose, I did not move Geppetto himself. And because this is one of the times he would get movement, he doesn't get damaged by the acid trap. And, you know what, he does have movement. Hang on a second. I think I messed things up before. Okay, so if I rewind to the point where we're still resolving How Did the Tiger Get Loose, we haven't done either of the events yet. I just did all 3 of the puppets. The last one forced us to discard something. You are still a regular victim. You are not the fiancé yet. Because I need to have Geppetto move, because he targets a victim, gets his movement and attack. So 1, 2, 3. He kills the last victim, forcing us to discard another terror card, which would have been Razor Puppet Strings. Then we finished How Did the Tiger Get Loose, which didn't do any damage around the animal cages. Then we resolve our 2 events. So first, the run, I'll hold them off. There are no victims, so this just gets discarded without effect. Unless the victim is also our fiancé. The werewolf is our fiancé. It's still technically a victim. The victim closest to you is your fiancé, and the full moon, the victim farthest from you, is the world's hairiest man and actually a werewolf. They're still a werewolf, or they're still a victim. Unless the werewolf no longer counts as a victim. This is some weird randomness, but I'll just assume there is no fiancé. Because the world's hairiest man, I think, was actually part of the Carnival. And then the mirrors everywhere. There are no victims left, aside from, I guess, the werewolf, who cannot be targeted. So nothing happens with those 2 events. Okay. And now, because Geppetto's way over here in the corner, in the Forest of Horrors, the puppets are going to have to run towards him. Okay, I think I've caught everything up. We've finished our terror card. All sorts of badness have happened. We've ended up discarding 2 more terror cards. The enemies are strong. We've got no bonuses. Yay. And we've now got a werewolf. Because it is the upkeep time, there's nobody left to panic, aside from the werewolf. Where does it go? Number 3, it stays put. It would have damaged Geppetto if Geppetto hadn't gotten to act. Okay. Slide back over to the center. And upkeep phase, it's back over to us. Hooray, we've got 2 walks, a sprint, and nobody left to save. We're immune to the item traps, at least. So I've got the distraction. I've got a search. I think what I want to do is simply walk a space, search the House of Mirrors, get the aluminum bat, and just start trying to go to town on Geppetto. Yeah, I mean, at the very least, Geppetto's track, at the very top, it only gets up to 2 damage. It's mostly that he's got all these extra puppets. And so far, the puppets aren't necessarily attacking. Okay. No, that sprint was from the last turn. So that would be back by now. Walk. We got 2 dice still. At least the horror level is under control. I got 0 successes. Hooray! So with 0 successes, no matter what, I've wasted 2 time, but I can still take a damage to move a space, and I'm going to do that. I'm not going to... I can't deal with any rerolls. I just want to be in the House of Mirrors. So took a damage, moved to space. Okay. Now I'm there. Now I can search and try to get a bat. Some kind of weapon that can... with the bat, that buffs your attacks, so now the weak attack could kill a puppet. That would be real nice. So we're going to search next. Let's use 2 different dice. See if that works out better for us. Okay. A blank and a middle. So if I discard the walk and the focus, then I can get the top item in my space at the cost of 1. So I've got the aluminum bat. It takes 2 hands, but I've got a weapon finally. Whew. And now the only things I've got left are the sprint and the distraction. I'm going to hold on to those. Great. So, with a budget of 3, what am I going to get? Yeah, I got the short rest, weak attack, and focus back. That's more than nothing. I've still got the sprint. It might be time to start getting the guard, or perhaps we can keep trying to search. Search and close call. Not even going to pause on this one, just search and close call. Because I want to get... Maybe items are the thing that I've just have been missing. I've been trying to focus on saving the victims, and goodness, that has not been working out for me. Not for any fault of mine. Their bloodlust is just going up so fast. Okay, that ends my buying phase, so that goes back up to 6. Killer phase. Puppets are targeting victims. There aren't any. But the ones that are too far away have to move back to within 2 spaces of Geppetto. So they move back towards the acid bath, and they can't come any farther, thanks to Geppetto being too far away. Likewise, Geppetto would attack in a space there's nobody over there. Okay. So, terror card. What's coming up next? It's Endless Maddening Laughter. We've got a 4-parter. Laughter rings out in each space adjacent to you. All victims in those spaces panic. Nope. Victims in a space with an enemy are killed. Nope. If you are in a space with or adjacent to Geppetto. Nope. If no victims were killed and you did not take any damage, resolve the next terror card. Dang it. You cannot get lucky. You will merely burn more cards. We've only got 1 left. Master Showman. Place Geppetto in your space. Place a puppet in each adjacent space if able, and he attacks. Great! He is teleported to us in the House of Mirrors. All of the puppets are now adjacent to that space. I suppose I could put them all in the same space if I wanted. Just, yeah, they're all on the big top where that werewolf is. Stay there, werewolf. Okay. So the puppets go into adjacent spaces, explicitly not my space, and now they each get to resolve an attack where they can't attack the werewolf. So Geppetto attacks me for 2 damage. Yep, nothing I can do about that. And now the terror phase is done. Okay, let's see where the werewolf is going. Number 5. It has gone to the acid pit. It would immediately die, but it can't be targeted? Question mark? Yeah, I don't care. The werewolf is not going to die to some acid. Maybe if he was still technically a victim, but now he's a werewolf, so it's unclear the specifics on that rule. I doubt it's going to matter too much. Okay, so we got attacked. Yeah, nothing I could do about in here. I didn't have a guard card because he was far away. Nope, not actually lucky at all. So that was the end of that. So now it is our turn. And, well, at least Geppetto's next to us, so I could hit him. I could use the aluminum bat, and if I dealt damage to him, I could discard his power, making it easier to kill the puppets. That would be something. Oh, I forgot. I could have drawn 2 cards. Well, I really wanted the bat. I'm not going to rewind that far back, but in theory, I would have been able to look at the 2 of them, and based on the item rules... Well, it doesn't say what you do with the extra card. It just draw an extra card and choose one. So normally when you get to choose one on the search card, place the other on top face up or underneath face down. I guess I'd go by those rules. So yeah, I could have put the other thing if it was a trap on the bottom. Oh well. But yeah, now my health is low. I need to get out of this space. I also still want to search. I want to do many things. What is the most important thing to do right now? The most important thing is to get out of there, so I've got the sprint handy. But I also can only really search in these spaces, so I'm going to do the search first. Then probably weak attack, and then sprint, and everything else is just trying to help us get out of here. Oof, if I get a double on the distraction, I can move the horror level down and get extra dice. Oh, that's so unlikely. And I want to do all of the things. Okay, distraction first. If luck ever comes my way in this game, this would be a good time to make this scenario possible. Give us a double success. Oh, that's worth spending the short rest and the focus on, because that gives me 2 successes. So, all those cards should have gone into the tableau again last turn. I forgot that again. So I spend the 2 cards. I get the 2 successes, which means our time budget goes up by 2. Horror level goes down by 2. We are in the green. We get 3 dice now. Aha. Okay. 3 dice should help our prospects, I hope. Now we do a search, and we've got more dice to go with. And all 3 of them require me to discard 2 cards. And if I do not get a success, the horror level is going back up. So in order to succeed, I either have to get rid of the weak attack or the sprint. And I have to get out of the space or I'm simply going to die. So I'm discarding... If I use the close call and I just get the same thing again, or not a success, no, I have to do it. Oh, that sucks. Okay, I got 1 success. So take the top item card in my space at the cost of a time. So this is the House of Mirrors. And lest we forget, my special ability, draw an extra card and choose one. Well, I have found the item trap. Hidden Cobra trap. It's a trap. A hidden cobra strikes you. Put this next to your Final Girl card, and each upkeep you lose a health. The next time you recover health, you must instead discard that card, so it's basically poison. But I'm immune to it, and I'm definitely not picking that card. That card goes down to the bottom. Yeah. So what we got was a crystal ball. Fortunes favor the bold. Once per action phase, roll a die. 1 through 4, nothing happens. 5 or 6, look at the next terror card and place it on either the top or bottom. Well, I've got 1 terror card left. Thank you, Crystal Ball. Yeah, you're going into the backpack where you're just going to break from sheer uselessness. Okay, so yeah, item cards vary greatly in their usefulness. I can either have an aluminum bat that deals extra damage and gets rid of dark powers, or a knife bandolier that does up to 4 extra damage to people seemingly in spaces adjacent to you, or a crystal ball that discards tarot cards that you're already out of. Okay, the search is gone. I don't want to think about it. I need to sprint to get to a different space to not die. Here we go. I still have the 3 dice at least. One good thing. So I got a success. I can't upgrade things. So 1 success, move up to 2 spaces. So we're both in the House of Mirrors. So wherever I end up, I'll still be in range of the puppets. And if I went to where the werewolf is, I would take a damage, but that would increase my dice by another one because I'd be on my last legs. Because if I'm down to my literal last health, you start getting an extra die. So I'd be rolling 4 dice as long as I'm about to die. I could do that on purpose, but aside from that space, anywhere I could get would be within his attack range, like the puppets could get to there. Things to astonish, try to get to the knife bandolier. I couldn't reach it with only 2 spaces. Let's see. Yeah, if I went to the acid pit and just took the damage to force myself to get extra die rolls, because everything here is doing 2 damage, there's no difference between 2 health and 1 health. So yeah, I'm going to run through the acid to give myself the buff of being on my last hit point, and now I'm rolling 4 dice. I've still dealt 0 damage to the enemy, not defeated a single puppet, but that's it. So I've got a budget of 6. I get the 0 cost cards, walk and focus back. And is it time to just simply unleash critical blow or something nasty? I mean, I need health. So long rest. Long rest takes 5. Long rest and close call. There we go. That's our budget. Now let's remember to put all the other ones back this time. Killer phase. So the puppets only move towards victims. It doesn't say victim or final girl. And the killer only attacks in his space. So really, it's the terror card, and we're about to get to the finale after this. So, welcome to the greatest show! We've got another event. Okay. Well, the event is the first thing, so let's resolve it. Our event is so much junk. Someone sure needs a hoarding intervention. When this card is revealed, find the Zappo item card and put it in your backpack. Reset the item decks if necessary. If you lose Zappo, roll 1 fewer dice when resolving search actions for the rest of the game. So what is Zappo? Well, let's see if it's in the other deck. No, Zappo. Okay, so we found a Zappo. Zappo is the Carnival monkey. Such a cute monkey, always ready to lend a helping hand. You may use Zappo to resolve a search card from up to 2 spaces away from a search location. If you use Zappo and an item trap is revealed, he flees in terror. Ignore the effects of the trap and discard Zappo. So if you lose Zappo, then you roll fewer dice when searching for the rest of the game, because, I don't know. So we've got a search helper now. That's nice, and we are immune to item trap cards, so does that... and an item trap is revealed? No, Zappo could still, and would be quite likely to, reveal a trap card at some point, and I don't think he'd be immune to it. Oop. Oh, but still, that wasn't a terrible item as far as those go. So now, the rest of this card. All victims move closer to the big top. Joke's on you, there aren't any. Place the killer at the big top, with all of his puppets. And all of them get to... they do an attack, then a move. The order is important because I would be extremely, extremely dead if it was the other order. So they all attack in the big top, and then each one of those puppets moves with us and the werewolf and Zappo. It's all a big Carnival at the acid pit square. Great, we're all right there, and I need to not be there. And oh yeah, werewolf time. Okay, so killer's phase is done. Terror cards are all done. Let's get this right. Nothing to panic. Okay, reveal the finale if there are no terror cards left. Time for that. Our finale is I made your friends. Okay, so interesting. Okay, yeah, final girl. So they just move and attack at the final girl. During the killer phase, victims act as puppets, but all other times they still act as normal victims. You may attack and kill victims if you wish, increasing bloodlust as normal. Oh, interesting. So all of the victims that are left become puppets. Joke's on you. There's no victims left, just a werewolf. I mean, as far as everything goes, that could have been a lot worse, but now every minion is doing a move and attack towards me, and the killer then does a move and attack towards me. Yep, they're not attacking victims anymore, but victims have just become extra puppets. And the werewolf. The werewolf is gonna move somewhere from that spot. Got 5. Where's the 5 go from there? 4. Oh, the werewolf has gone to the tent. It just traded spaces with all of those. Okay. So I'm about to take 8 damage every turn. There's nothing I can do about it. The only good thing is that I've got a bat now, and I've got a long rest that maybe I could get some health back from. But yeah, I've got like 2 walk cards, a long rest, and a close call. If I'm lucky, I can get more than 2 spaces away, which means they can't catch me this turn. And that's the best thing, because I don't even have the attack, like the weak attack card to hit them with the bat right now. But it is my turn. We're in the finale. I've got Zappo. There's also a werewolf. Say hi, werewolf. So, I mean, yeah, the walks. I guess I have to do the long rest first. Although there's a chance if I get no successes, I am rolling 4 dice now. That's the good side. I want to get some health back because the walks might cause damage to me if I want to move with no results. So, long rest first. 1 success and 3 upgradable ones. 1 success recovers 3 health at the cost of 2. If I wanted to discard Focus and Close Call, no. Like, yeah, I would like to have 4 health because that gives me 1 extra point of resilience, but really no. Okay, I got 3 health back from all of that, so I can use the moves. Okay. And that means I've lost a die because I'm not on my last hit point anymore. Great. Okay, we're gonna walk. I don't know where I'm running, maybe past the werewolf. 1 success, an upgradable. If I move it up to... No, they can move 3 spaces. I need to move 2 twice. If I discard the close call and the focus, I can get a move 2 on this one, but I need a double result next time. So where am I going to move? Boy, all the searchable spaces are really close to where we are right now. Granted, we do have Zappo. I suppose the only good thing is that as long as I'm 3 spaces away, the puppets can't reach me, because Geppetto has to catch up to me first. Yeah, I'm going past the werewolf, just through the big top, to the ticket counter on the top, and I'm just going to try to get up to the carnival and get some distance, heal again, maybe find some cards. I don't know what. But I do need a success on this walk roll to not just die right now. Still have the 3. Okay, I got 1 success. I don't need the upgradable ones. Just, would have been nice, but I have no cards. So, spent 1 time, the budget's down to 2. That sucks, but I got away enough that I might get really lucky. So, there's no more terror cards, it's just Minions and killers. So they target me. They can move up to 3. They're all just going to move in a big blob, I think. But they can't get more than 2 spaces away from Geppetto, meaning they all stop right there. Geppetto goes. Geppetto can move 3, so he can reach me and deal 2 damage to me. But I need to get at least 3 spaces from Geppetto again next turn, or I'm dead again. Whew. Okay. Oh, I've only got a budget of 2. One card I can get is the sprint. Yeah, this happens before they all moved. So I get the weak attack. I bought a sprint with my 1 card. I need it to give me a 3 or I'm dead again. Okay. Right. Did that. Fix that. The budget's a 6. This stuff all goes back in again. Long rest. Then all the killer stuff happened. Now, upkeep phase. Let's roll for werewolf. Let's see where the werewolf ends up. 6. The werewolf went to the House of Mirrors. And I was so hopeful that the werewolf is just going to do something useful at some point. Never did. Now it's our turn again. I'm going to weak attack this guy. If I can, even if I knock the Massive Abomination's power off of him. Oh, no, only minor dark powers. I can't knock that power off of him. I can do damage to him. That's the name of the game. I got to beat him up. So weak attack first, then we're going to sprint, and the other 2 cards, it'd be nice if I could short rest. But realistically, the rest of this is just hope. So weak attack. This one's cocked. I got 2 successes already, though. So I deal a damage. Thanks to the aluminum bat, I deal 2 damage. Our first points of the game. We only need to do that 3 more times. And then hopefully he's dead. Oh, okay. That was actually good. We didn't take any damage or any other nasty bits from that. Although if we took a damage, then we could have gotten the bonus dice on the sprint, which is coming up next. Okay, weak attack has been played. Now sprint. Here's our 3 dice. I need a double success or I'm screwed. A blank and 2 upgradables. So I could get 1 success. I could move up to 2 spaces. But all of the puppets are going to be able to reach me. I think that's the end of the game. Well, let's just play it out. Best thing I can do is get... If I don't move, I'm super duper dead. So I sacrifice those 2. I get 1 success. Move up to 2 spaces. Well, maybe I can get some guards or something. Maybe there's still a chance I can get super lucky. So I can move 2 spaces away. I can get to the Forest of Horrors, I suppose. And yeah. Okay. At the cost of 1 time. Oh no, we're at the 5. Okay, so I have no cards left. I've got a budget of 5. So I get those cards back. I need blue cards. Boy, that signature action ambush would be really nice if I could afford it. Just do 2 instant damage when the killer comes at me. But I don't have that kind of budget. I could get retaliate or 2 guard cards. The guard cards would... Each one would prevent damage if I got any successes, which would be huge. So 2 guards and a close call. This is what I'm picking up. And then I've just got a basic couple of walks into focus. Okay, that was my budget. Killer time. So the 3 puppets each have movement of 3. They're all getting up to me. So 1 at a time, they're each going to attack for 2 damage. The first one, it would kill me, but I'm using my guard card. I'm still rolling 3 dice. The horror level hasn't increased in a while. It's so funny that that's still in the green. Great. 2 upgradable results. If I get no successes, it reduces the damage by 1. You know what? That's actually good, because that gets me rolling extra dice, because I'm back down to my last hit point and I'm in critical mode again. Keep forgetting to put these back. Okay. So the second one attacks me. Now I get 4 dice, and I'm using my second guard card. Okay, 4 dice. 2 successes. So ignore all of the damage. Okay, but we've got a third. Yeah, there's nothing I can do. So the third one hits me. I reveal whatever this is. Oh, I come back to health. I come back to life with 1 hit point. But that gets replaced with your final hit point. Yeah, no coming back from the white ones. But now the killer gets to go. He can also move 3 and attack by 2, and there's no coming back a second time. I am simply dead. I mean, this one was better, but still, just maxing out the Bloodlust tracker really just gave them so much power. The one time I've beaten this game was when I was able to successfully save a lot of victims early on, and like say 5 or 6 right away, but also the victims were scattered out enough that the killer wasn't able to simply feast and just knock the bloodlust up in one turn from like very low to pretty much all the way there. Because each of the last couple of games I've had to discard terror cards because I'm just bumping up against the bloodlust limit because the enemy has had so many turns at that top level. I mean, other things that I could potentially do differently next time, if I'm more aggressive against the killer itself, like, what would that really do? It would... The killer himself in this game wasn't even moving, it was the puppets. If I could have attacked the puppets and just eliminated them, they wouldn't have been killing victims. I imagine that's the strategy you should be going with here. But as soon as the 4 new victims spawned in the big top, suddenly they were massive abominations, and I couldn't kill them with the weak attack anymore, and I couldn't afford something stronger like Furious Strike. I didn't have the baseball bat yet. The baseball bat, number 1, existed. I mean, it could have just been all crystal balls in the item deck. Useless things up until that point. So just it even being present in the game was lucky. But I eventually managed to get the bat, but there were just too many of them to deal with. And every turn, like, it spawns 1 puppet a turn. So if I am able to, like, knock out all the puppets, then it's basically a 2-on-1 for the rest of the game once you hit the finale. So you really need to be killing puppets every turn, which just seems really difficult to deal with. Like, you need to have the killer not within 2 spaces of every enemy. I imagine a lot of the event decks are going to have Geppetto just starting in the big top because of the nature of his ability, where it's he can only, like, the puppets are limited to 2 spaces away from him, and you just need to get him into a corner somehow and save the rest of the victims so that when the finale hits, he's still weak somehow. And there's just nothing I could really do about that. So I don't know about this one. This one seemed more fair, but I'm still not sure what I should have been doing differently. I think I've just got a fundamental strategy problem in this game. I'm trying to save victims. Like, that's my number 1 priority. From the start of the game, save victims. If you can take a pot shot at the killer, great. But because the killer's going to attack the victims instead of you, it's hard to lead the killer somewhere else, you know, to manipulate them, because they're just always coming after you. So I really don't know what I should have done differently for all of this. It's tough. But I have to have a fundamental strategy problem here. Either that, or I'm continually getting very, very unlucky. Start of the game, I actually had some success rolls, which was nice. But you have to be just continually high luck for this to really work out. I'm really not sure how much better I could do at these things. So, that's tough. That was the Carnival of Blood. I I thought it was an interesting, different villain. I hit all of the special meeples, which is neat. We had a werewolf that killed one of our victims. We saved our sibling, at least. That's the only silver lining here, is our sibling and 4 victims got away. And that's about it. So, hope you had a fun time watching today's slaughter here at the Carnival of Blood by Geppetto. And hope to see you again next time here on Wheel of Games. Bye-bye.